Welcome back to the second day of the deload, which I'm really bad at doing deloads. I think I did a decent job today, but as the title does suggest, I did go a bit crazy with the snatch. So originally it was 85 for 4 doubles, and because 90 is within that percentage that it gives you, so each exercise it will say like this is the focus of this particular session for this exercise. So for snatches it was, I believe, 70 to 80%, so I pushed closer to that 80%. And for snatches, it's not really that big of a deal because I do have my 1 rep max is really low as 120, I believe, in the app. So I can always be more aggressive with the percentages because 90 is a closer to an actual, what my actual max is, which I would estimate it being about 130 right now if I went 100%, 600 milligrams of caffeine, crazy straps, all that stuff. I certainly want to get back to pushing above 130 and doing that consistently, and even on days where I don't feel that super hyped up and that super lit up sense. But at this current state I have it at 120, and I certainly think that's good for the percentage work. A lot of the times it makes it a lot more manageable because reps and snatch are really difficult, and particularly when I'm doing it without straps. Like yesterday I didn't use straps, and today was the same thing. I also didn't use wrist straps, so I didn't use straps or wraps, either one of those. So I was quite happy with those, and my wrist hasn't been bothering me without using those, so that's really good. And ideally, I just wouldn't use wraps at all. I think for cleans I'll probably always kind of have to use them just because of the nature of the movement. It does kind of put my wrist in kind of a hyperflexion position, especially because I'm just have a larger upper body at this point in my life. So I'm not going to have a super mobile front rack, or at least like one where I'm able to have everything in a really perfect position. I'm just going to have to, stabilize that joint a little bit extra. But for snatches, they've been feeling good without it, which is nice. And even on this day, so as you saw, some of the 90s, not too great, but I was feeling good. So I went up to this 100 and I actually overpulled it, which may, is a miss still. But for me, it's a indicator that I'm able to do the rep well, because usually when I overpull like that, I'm nervous about the weight and I'm like, oh, I gotta make sure I get it back. But there I did it well, and then that 110 I was really happy with. So I actually went all the way up to 120, which is my current max in the app, which is always funny to say, but it's not obviously my true 1 rep max. But you see there, I pressed out with the left arm. It was just a little bit too far forward, and my left arm just bent. And that one, the left arm kind of did the same thing, but I was able to stabilize it. So I was quite happy with that, especially to do it without straps, without wraps, and without pre-workout caffeine, just coffee throughout the day, which is certainly, an appreciable amount of caffeine with how much coffee I drink. But normally I would drink that same amount of coffee and then have pre-workout prior to training. So I would have that extra alertness and hypeness and focus for my training. Probably just generally too much caffeine, but I'm a pretty large guy, so I can kind of handle that much, and I think I have a generally high tolerance for it. After the snatch work, I stuck to what the app actually had weight-wise, intensity-wise for the front squat, and for kind of with the presses and with the pulls, but I'll explain more once I talk about the front squat. So originally it was 4 sets of 4. I've been kind of like yesterday, I actually did the same rep scheme today, where I did 3 sets of 5 and then a set of 10, because I originally was like, I want to do 5 sets of 5 because you have Mark Ribito whispering in your ear, and on a week like this where the weights are light, a 5x5 at 110 is not really that difficult for the front squat. Even though reps in the front squat are difficult, 110 is just not that heavy for me. But after I did the third set, I was feeling actually the best out of the third set, and I was like, I could probably do a 5x5, but I was like, well, maybe I'll just do a set of 10, and as you see here, I just rep them out, and was pretty happy with how they felt. Nothing really hurt or anything, and that's kind of the interesting thing with a deload week like this. Even though, as you see, the volume is still pretty high with repetitions and whatnot, and I'm obviously, going above and beyond the repetitions that are originally prescribed. But even if I were to do a 4x4, that's still pretty high reps for something like a front squat. But they're feeling pretty good, and I'm not getting like a crazy pump or anything. I got more a pump from these presses than anything, but I was pleasantly surprised with how the front squats felt. As you see here with the overhead pressing, so they're at 70, and I just started at 70 just because I already had it loaded on the bar. I think when I switched this from the push presses, it wanted me to do these at like 54 kilos, which is comical, but I'm pretty good at overhead pressing at this point. I've been doing a lot really this whole year, and I've gotten it up to, actually, yeah, I did 100 kilograms this year, so that was a really big PR lifetime. So My overhead pressing is pretty good, and I haven't done it since I started this program. I've been getting a lot of push presses, and I've been trying to be pretty strict at doing it because I think that is pretty useful for improving the jerk and just a more weightlifting specific movement. But because it's a deload week and I didn't want to do sets of 4 or 5 in the push press, I swapped it to the overhead press and just started them at 70 and decided to do them kind of like, I don't know, just like touch and go reps, I suppose is a good way to describe them. So I'm still going all the way down to my chest like a normal overhead press, or like to the front rack of the overhead press, but I am certainly using the stretch reflex and definitely not being gentle with the bar. I'm not really like slamming it on myself, but there was a set of 10, so I did the same thing, 3 sets of 5 and then a set of 10, but those actually felt pretty good and I got a nice little pump from them. This actually was the most difficult thing I did today. So I was originally given clean pulls and I didn't want to do sets of 4 or 5 from the floor, so I just did hang clean pulls, and as you see here, I did a 5x5, but I did one set of 25 instead of a 5x5 because I am a psychopath. So it's just 130 kilos, so not a crazy heavy weight, but yeah, just a brutal set. I had to lay down for a little bit after this to catch my breath. I don't know why I did them all together. I suppose just laziness, but I don't know. On a deload, we can kind of challenge yourself in different ways. And while the weight itself isn't challenging, the cardiovascular strain of it is, and I suppose there is a benefit to that as well. But that's it for this video. I'll talk to you on the next one, and I hope you all have a great day. Peace.